Hey everybody, before we start the show, I wanted to let you know that this episode of Tabletop Babble is brought to you by D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond is the official digital tool set and companion for Dungeons and Dragons. They've got a character builder, they've got an encounter builder and tracker. They've got options for you to put in all kinds of custom stuff. It is just a great tool, and I want everybody to go check it out at dndbeyond.com. Especially if you are an aspiring designer, D&D Beyond is super helpful for looking things up. You don't have to have 26 different books open. You've got it all at your fingertips. Just search bada bing, bada boom, and go. It is my constant writing companion, and I am so happy for it. I always got multiple D&D Beyond tabs open. All right, let's start the show. This is Tabletop Babble. I'm James Introcaso. Today on the show, I am talking with Connor and Kate of the D8 Summit. D8 Summit is a really amazing convention that focuses on experiences with the writers and raising money for charity. And by writers, I mean people who are writing adventures that you are playing right there at the con. It is basically like summer camp. You know what? I'm going to let Connor and Kate tell you about it. Here's my interview with them. Okay, everybody, now I am here with two people who are giants in the industry of tabletop gaming conventions. I'm very excited to have them here. Let's go around the table, let people know who you are and what you do in the world of tabletop role-playing games. Connor, let's start with you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Connor Self. I am by day a school counselor, and by night I moonlight as a role-playing game person. I write numerous adventures, largely for Adventurers League, although I've done some written work for Legendary Games. I've helped with playtesting things for Wizards of the Coast, and I just like to share my love of gaming any way that I can. I've worked with several large gaming conventions. You'll mostly see me in the Adventurers League Hall or the Dungeons and Dragons Hall, although I do like to spend time at the bar afterwards. And in that capacity, events such as Gary Con, which is upcoming, Hoosier Con, Gamehole Con, and the D8 Summit. I help make certain that those events run and that people have the best experience they could have at a D&D table in a public play venue.
Awesome. It is so great to have you here. I am a big Connor Self fan, so I'm excited to share that love with the world.
I'm a big James Introcaso fan. You write some amazing stuff. Your products are great, and I don't want to seem like I'm totally brown nosing here, but it's a real honor to be speaking with you. And to bring one of the key people that actually makes the D8 Summit run. She's here with us, so she deserves a lot of cred.
Yes, absolutely. And let us meet that person right now. Kate, who are you, and what do you do in the world of tabletop role-playing games?
Hey guys, I am Kate Tollefson, and to some extent, I'm just your average Joe who really likes to go on adventures. It is something that I've been doing on and off for about 10 years, so in some ways, I'm still very new. And life accidentally brought us to meeting Connor, and through that, were introduced to D8 and fell in love. And ever since then, we have been pitching in and I'm saying we a lot because I mean my husband and I, but that sounds real weird.
It's very Venom. It's very Venom. Kate is attached to a symbiote.
Right. Yes. So since meeting Connor, I have had the opportunity to put some time in helping make D8 awesome. And I'm just in love. It is a great weekend where a whole lot of great people come together and just have a blast. So it's really cool to see everybody just make all the magic happen together.
Well, it is great to have you here. So, I want to get into this a little bit because I think D8 Summit is a really special convention. And I have not had the pleasure of attending yet. It is on my bucket list to get out there as soon as possible. But I do really, really know a lot of people who are part of this with you all and speak about this convention the way a kid who is excited to go back to summer camp speaks about summer camp. It is just like a magical place where people hang out with friends and feel really great about all of the gaming they're doing. It is amazing. So, what makes D8 Summit so special?
Part of it is the sort of the pretense that drops. You're actually just coming to a place where everybody wants to game as much as you do, and you get to do it for days at a time. A lot of people don't see each other the year round and come together at D8, so they get to see old friends and play new games. There is a really, really heavy involvement with people who write adventures or design adventures. So not only do you get to come game, but you get to meet Bob who wrote the adventure. Like, how cool is that? Bob might even run it for you. I think that's a big part of it. And then on top of that, not only do we have fun the whole time, but we really actually get to give money to charities that mean a lot. So not only is it this magical summer camp moment, but you know that you're helping make somebody else's life better in the process.
Yeah, that is really huge. That charity component, I think, makes it special in a big way because, and obviously, a lot of cons have charity gaming, but this is like kind of all about the charity gaming, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So cons do amazing work for charity all over the country, and so you get to see that, and it's really heartwarming. There are very few events where the event is entirely about the charity. That take 100% of the money and turn it around to a good cause. Um, I am a huge fan of charity gaming events such as Jasper's Game Day, Save versus Hunger. These events are designed around the idea that they are there to support the charity and allow people to have a good time doing it. And the D8 Summit exists in that same vein.
That is great. What else makes it special to you, Connor?
For me personally, I think the thing that makes it the most meaningful is that there are two drives. There's the very open drive towards supporting authorship in our hobby. They're the people that create the games that we play. They don't often get the celebrity treatment that they deserve. It's very easy to turn our attention towards the very visible people in our community, the cosplayers and personalities, but the people whose faces you never see, the people whose names are on the adventures but you often don't know who they are, those people deserve an awful lot because they're the ones that are giving a lot to that experience that you have right there at the table. And so we try really hard to celebrate those people and to give them the appreciation and rock star status that they deserve. And so we put them forefront. We bring in per capita more adventure writers than any event that I'm aware of. Last year we had over 20 authors come in, and the chances of you getting a seat at a table with them, that's incredibly high. If you want it, you could spend the whole weekend just playing adventures with the people who wrote them. This year we're expecting about 400 people, and over 20 of them will be the people who wrote adventures that people are playing that weekend. So it's and these people aren't only running the adventures for you, so you're getting a better experience because they know what it's supposed to feel like. They know the things that they might not put in writing, but what they wanted to convey through their writing. They're also hanging out in the bar after, and you can just sit and have a conversation with them. You can go over to the hot tub, take a soak because it's at the water park. It's at a resort, so you can go enjoy that time. Hang out. Oh man, how late did we hang out in the lobby afterwards, just talking every night? I want to say it was like 2 or 3 in the morning.
It was.
It was. We were feeling it the next day, but it's totally worth it. That's how that's how that convention goes. So that's the obvious thing. The other thing that we feel very strongly about is the importance of promoting diversity in our hobby. We try to promote diversity in our hobby through authorship. And so what we do is we run a contest each year where we seek out voices for our hobby. We look for new voices, voices from underrepresented groups, and the way that we found to do it is we run a blind competition.
Yes, tell me about that.
So the Iron RPG author competition is an annual thing where we put out an open call. If you would like to follow the steps and jump through the hoops and submit a blind submission to a group of judges who do not know who you are, we will look those submissions over. We will rate them, and then we will give spots to write adventures for the D8 Summit to those people, and then we'll invite them to come out and run them. That's a critical part of it too. So you get to go and present your story to the attendees. One thing that we notice, we don't put quotas in there or anything like that. We just say we're going to let the best voices rise to the top without any idea of who you are, where you've been, or anything. Just your voice. In the adventure is the only thing that matters. And when you do that, you'd be amazed how much diversity just rises to the top. These are people. These people that win are amazing people, and often they are just overlooked for one reason or another, and that gets rid of all of it. And it's just a beautiful thing to see, because the people that are writing, they look like the gaming community everywhere. Probably personally, that's my favorite part of it.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's huge. There's a lot of really, really great stuff going on there. Tell me a little bit more about this writing contest. If people are interested in submitting writing and that kind of thing, how do they do that?
Well, the way to do it is we put that call out about a couple months after the D8 Summit. So in the month of July, we usually put a call out, and if you're interested in getting the information on that, I highly recommend you follow the D8 Summit Facebook page or follow the D8 Summit on Twitter. Because what we'll do is we make that openly. We ask friends to share it, but I want to make sure that you see it. When that call goes out, we'll say, contact us if you're interested. We'll send you the contest rules so that you're aware of what's expected. We'll give you the deadlines. We'll send you the templates that you need, and we'll set you loose. Depending on it, we give a turnaround. It really depends on how we're working, because the writer spots at this point go to Adventurers League, although next year that may add other organized play systems. But for now, those writing spots go to Adventurers League adventures, and we have to follow the rules of that program as well. So as many spots as we are able to offer to authors, we do that. We have talented editors on our team that even if somebody is still really green to writing in a format such as that for Adventurers League, the editors are there to help them along the way. We don't want somebody to immediately be turned out from sharing their voice because they're new to the scene. We have talented editors such as Ginny Loveday and Latia Bryant, who will follow up with those people and help them get their writing together to be used by the wider audience in the community.
Awesome. So, Kate, tell me a little bit about how you first got involved with the D8 Summit.
Ooh, it was an accident. Actually, I think the real answer is Pokemon Go. Oddly enough, but basically, in meeting Connor, it was very soon before D8 in 2019, and it was sort of last minute. And he said, "Hey, if you want to help, maybe check it out." And we, doing the we again, my husband and I went. Of course, we took the opportunity to go see a con that was near us and hang out with Connor, and just fell in love. We just had a blast. We mostly volunteered, just kind of helping at the desk and things, and that was actually a great way to start for somebody like me, where I got to know how everything works without jumping in right away because I'm that person. Um, and just got to see everybody find all of the cool things. There are different uh, obviously systems. So, there's a little bit of a focus on Adventurers League for sure. But there's Pathfinder, Starfinder, off the top of my head, Call of Cthulhu. I think this year we're going to see a few other things as well. And so seeing all of that come together, I was just hooked. And so since then, my husband and I have both joined on in with the group that is putting everything together. And we're never looking back pretty much. So even though you haven't gotten a chance to join us yet, you should definitely put it on your calendar for 2021 because I guarantee you we'll be back.
So let's talk about the charity aspect of the con. How does that work? So, how do you get the money? Where does it go? I think it's fascinating to see this stuff because I want to do more of it. I want to figure out how I can do more charitable things through gaming. So, walk me through it. How does it work?
The D8 Summit charity convention is actually an annual event put on by D8 Summit Charities. It's a 501c3 charity. And our mission is to help gaming events add a charitable component to their offerings. And so we live it through our convention, but we also provide that sort of help and support to charity, to other events anywhere. So what we do at the D8 Summit is we collect badges, and we have event tickets. Those monies, if any are left over, they pay for a lot of the costs of the event. We try to keep those prices as low as possible, to encourage people to attend. And a lot of the money that we raise comes from selling swag like dice, t-shirts, water bottles. We also get money from reroll tickets, where if somebody doesn't like the roll, they can donate $1 to charity and reroll that die roll, which is a fun way not only to make sure your character doesn't die and does awesome things at the table, but to give back to charity. And we also have silent auctions. So those are the primary ways that we're able to raise money for charity. D8 Summit Charities, the organization, what we do is we identify quality local charities. We tend to focus on local charities where they oftentimes don't have the big marketing budgets of larger national charities, and those dollars oftentimes are spent very well because the budgets are for those organizations, the local ones, are often very small. And so we've identified some in our local community that need that help. We've supported Illinois Valley Pads, Jasper's Game Day, both really high quality local charities that fight homelessness and help prevent suicide. But we would work with an organization that reaches out to us if there's XYZ convention in Pennsylvania that's like, hey, we would like to run a charity event. They could reach out to D8 Summit Charities, and what we would do is we'd provide them expertise and help with organizing and even running the charity component of that convention. Through our 501c3, we can make sure that the event gets all that money to a local charity of their choosing, and that the attendees can take advantage of the 501c3 status to see that their donation gets maximum tax benefits for them. So that's like a win-win for everybody.
Hey everyone, we're going to take a quick break and then back to the babble.
Leave behind the safety of the Humblewood and travel down the Tangrip coast to the Bay of Palouche, home to both the Kingdom of Den and the Serpent Domain. But neither hold the true power of the Bay, for that lies in the sea itself and the pirate lords that call her tides their own. The dread pirate Captain Bluebeak, Tiberius Fang, Kin the Bladeless, and Gabrielle LaFleur, the self-proclaimed pirate queen. Each one vying for power over the very tides themselves. But do any of them really have what it takes to hold up the legacy of the briny bulldog? Tune in each week to find out if our little crew has what it takes to stand up to the pirates of the blood-soaked waters. Dark Fortunes is available every Monday on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. Set sail for high seas adventure.
Let's get back to the babble. Kate, how does it make you feel to be involved in a convention that's doing so much fundraising?
It's just really cool. There's no better way to say it. The event itself, if you just go for the weekend and you don't think about the charity or any part of that, you're going to go and have a great time. That is something that D8 does well. It is just an awesome weekend. But getting to add on top the fact that you get to just do what you enjoy doing, and know that maybe you buy a couple extra of those tickets to re-roll because hey, it's going to go to charity too, and know that it actually is going to that charity. That's one of those things here in the world that sometimes you're not sure where all that money is going. So being a part of the organization, knowing how they've chosen the charities and where the money's going, is super cool to know that it's actually going to affect people directly and really help them from this really cool event. So it's just really awesome to know that, like, us putting in some extra time to make the event happen will hopefully make somebody's day a little brighter somewhere, because that's all we can look for.
I just love the thought of like going to a convention, getting to play some games for a long time, and then leaving like with the feeling of great accomplishment. That's just like a truly wonderful thing. Connor, you had talked about diversity, and diversity, I think, is a thing that people all over are trying to have more diverse teams of people when they create a role-playing game product together, when they plan a con, whatever it may be, when they're working on. I think people are seeing the need to bring in marginalized voices, which is a great thing, right? It's great to be able to get different perspectives, and I think we get stronger results when people are brought in, and it's not just all dudes who look like me, right? Like I'm the archetypical role-playing game guy. I'm a cis het white dude, and so I do think that is a strong thing. But I also know that it can be very difficult, right? It's more work if you straight white dudes are all over this industry, and so it is easy to find them and bring them in. So what sort of tips do you have for people who want to create more diverse staff and are willing to put in the work but don't maybe know how to start, and also are afraid of engaging in tokenism?
The fear of tokenism is a real one. People don't want to think that they're doing it just because they want to look a certain way. The best advice I have for somebody that really cares about this is you have to look toward the end goal. The end goal is to create an experience that's for everybody. Marginalized voices are voices. Their stories matter. Their stories are our stories. But they might a marginalized voice might present a way of looking at a situation that other people don't see. It's very easy to go around and convince yourself, and without preaching, it's very easy to go around and convince yourself that your perspective is the experience that everybody sees, and that's just simply not the case. A person who's different from you is not only going to be treated differently by our society, as awful as it sounds, it's true. But they're also going to see the same situation in a different way. Bringing people together, giving them a forum to communicate, and creating a space where every voice is a voice, and it matters the same is an important way to do that. That's what we do at the D8 Summit. We actively say that every person has a voice. Their voice matters, and it is co-equal. Then from there, we find ways to promote that diversity by creating a safe space for it to happen. We always bragged that at the D8 Summit we had a code of conduct before a code of conduct was cool. Right? Like we since the very beginning we had a code of conduct that specifically called out that we promote diversity. and that people that come to our events can expect not only to not face discrimination, but also they can demand respect. And so that's where we started from. Create a safe space. Encourage ways for people to rise to the top based on their personal quality, and you will find diversity. It will happen on its own, because those people are out there and they want to belong and they want to participate and they want to share. I'm one of those people, and there are plenty of others that if you just give them the chance and create a safe space for them to do it, you will find those diverse voices. You will. I promise. They're out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's not just about seeking and finding, right? It's about creating a welcoming space. Kate, how do you feel attending D8 Summit? I'm not sure how many other cons you attend, but does it feel like the audience is different?
I don't have a lot to compare it to in my short gaming life, but I would say I walked in with nothing but stereotypes in my head of what to expect, and it wasn't that. Um, so if you just say to somebody, there's 10 dudes playing D&D, somebody's going to have a picture in their brain of what that might be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. It's 10 of me. I definitely know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anywhere at the con, at any table, in any location, any of the places hanging out afterwards, where that was the full truth of what everybody that was experiencing the group together. It never felt weird. There's no way to feel out of place, because there are people from just a massive range of groups joining us for this. So I don't feel like you could feel like an outsider in this group. I really think that overall it is just a room of respect and just having fun. Anybody who is going to show up and feel otherwise is not going to have fun, and they're not likely to join us.
There you go. There you go. Well, one thing that I really appreciate is, you said the focus on writers, which is obviously something I, as a writer of role-playing game products, would very much appreciate. Why was it important to you, Connor, to be able to bring out people who are working on these projects and also to foster new writers?
For a couple reasons. If we're looking to truly promote diversity in our hobby, we're going to need to bring in new writers. If we foster only existing writers in our hobby, then we're not going to find diversity, because, like you said, James, our hobby has been predominantly cishet white men for some time. So we're going to need to bring in new voices to find the diversity that truly exists here in our hobby. We're going to need to make the effort to bring in female writers, women writers, writers of color, non-heterosexual writers, people of differing gender identities. And we're going to have to do that by opening up opportunities for new writers to share their stories. The other reason is that just because somebody is existing in the hobby doesn't mean that their stories are better. It just doesn't. The quality of a story comes from a component that's inside of somebody. Their creativity and their heart is the spark that fuels a good story. And certainly there are so many technical things that help bring that story to fruition and make it awesome. But without that spark there, the writing falls flat. And so new people can tell great stories. They need to be included. Absolutely.
Nice. I like that a lot. And it's the story focus is just very cool, right? And that's the thing that I love to see is what sort of new stories can somebody new bring to the table, right? We can all write a dungeon that has a dragon at the end, but what else can people bring to the table? Kate, you brought up getting to play with the authors of the actual modules. Why do you think that makes a difference in the gameplay experience?
Well, any good DM or GM can sit down and take an adventure somebody else wrote and form a world around you and put you in that place. But the person who wrote it has typically every like all of the images in their head. They have all the voices, they know that this person has a limp because of their backstory, and they know all of those little things that are going to make it seem that much more real, so that while you're playing it, you are really encased in that story. Not only that, but it means that while everybody interprets things differently, you are literally getting the actual interpretation that is on that paper. That person put the story together and they are putting it on for you. In some ways, it's kind of like performance art that you get to be a part of. It's really cool to see them bring it to life exactly how they envisioned it and put it down on the paper.
I liken it to the closest you can get to a home game in an organized play experience, because that person understands the ins and outs of that adventure, and they are very capable of tailoring it to the people that sit down with them.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel more okay adjusting an adventure I've written than one someone else has written, because I'm like, oh, if I shift this, is this going to change things down the line a bad way for me? Right? I know that if I've written the adventure, the only person they can complain to is me. Right? So,
So what's something that you've shifted then? Just out of curiosity, what's something that you've shifted for a table that you've ran for?
So I have an adventure that I run at cons. It's not an Adventurers League legal adventure, but it's called Invasion from the Planet of Tarrasques, and it is a level 20 adventure where you fight a lot of Tarrasques,
Yeah,
more
it's
than one.
Kaiju, right? It's Kaiju Mania.
Yes,
D&D edition.
yeah, exactly. So it's more than one, often more than one at once, and it is a blast to play. And things always go weird because at level 20, people have power beyond compare, right? They can teleport all over the place. They can cast wish spells. All kinds of stuff is happening. So that adventure always requires a little bit of adjustment. And whenever I talk to DMs, there's always some point where they were like, yeah, and then they did this thing that isn't covered by the adventure at all. And it's because, the ranger had this very specific ability and the wizard had this very specific spell prepared. And when they worked in synergy, this happened, right? It's that kind of thing where it's like, yeah, I feel great about adjusting this adventure, because it's the beauty, I think, of role-playing games is that we're telling the story together, right? It's not the DM is always right. It's not the DM just pulling you through their story. It is the players communicate what they would like to do, and the GM relates how the world reacts. And I think that is a great thing. Just really, really fun. And I feel like once you unlock that secret of D&D, it becomes ultimately more fun. So if you're ever any DMs in the sound of my voice, if you're ever running an adventure I've written, you have my full permission and encouragement to change it as you must.
And if you decide to ever write, if you're listening and you decide to write, don't hesitate to change what you wrote just to make it a better experience for the people at the table.
Totally.
Like, I'm not sure of anybody that would take that away from you. You've got a story you want to tell, you tell it. If the players change it, then awesome, because you're building that together, and so each time you run it, it's going to be a little bit different.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. So I think that is going to do it for this episode of Tabletop Babble. But before we go, let's promote this thing. Where can people find more information about the D8 Summit?
So the easiest way to see what adventures you can join us on are by checking us out at bit.ly/D8 Summit 2020. You can also find us on Facebook. We are D8 Summit.
Excellent. And where can people find both of you online? Connor, let's start with you.
Anybody that's interested in finding me can find me on Facebook. You can find me under Jonathan Connor Self, my full writer's name, or you can find me on Twitter at JONCONNOR SELF. Or you can just find me at a convention because I'm like everywhere trying to raise money and run things for people.
And where can people find you, Kate?
I am relatively, I'll say old school in quotes, and primarily you can find me on Facebook. I am Kathleen A. Tollefson.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you both so much for joining me today on Tabletop Babble.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That was a great interview. Everybody, if you love Tabletop Babble, the best way to support the show is to head on over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review. Seriously, leave us 5 stars. It will help other people find the show. If you're listening in Apple Podcasts right now, you can click on over. It'll take you 20 seconds in the app to just bing, boop, boop. That's more like 5. So yeah, go ahead, check it out. Even if you don't have iTunes, odds are the podcatcher app you're using is using the iTunes algorithms to rate and recommend podcasts to others. So rate us, rate all the podcasts you love. We will so appreciate it. If you leave me a 5-star review, I'll read it out loud. You can make me say anything you want. Also, if you have the money and would like to support the show financially, we would really appreciate it. I hope this show is worth at least $1 a month to you. Head on over to patreon.com/Intricasso, where you can pledge and get all kinds of cool rewards. But remember that the greatest reward, the one you feel in your heart, is supporting this show that comes to you every single week. The other stuff, that's just gravy. What you're doing is you're supporting Tabletop Babble, and I really appreciate it. All right, people, you can find me on Twitter at James Intricasso. That's at JamesIntrocasso. Also, check out my blog, worldbuilderblog.com, which is all about the cool game design stuff I am doing. I might be writing about a little book called Mythic Odysseys of Theros, because I got to contribute a little bit to that. That was super duper fun. I just love Greek mythology. It's so good. Tabletop Babble is a show on the Don't Split the Podcast Network. Thanks to Rudy Basso for founding it with me. Our theme music, which you're listening to right now, is provided by Battle Bards. Don't forget, RPGs are like sex. Hey everybody, the podcast you just listened to was brought to you by Elderwood Academy. Elderwood Academy, you know them. They are the makers of so many fine gaming products. I'm talking about sweet dice boxes. I'm talking about dice themselves. I'm talking about Centurion boxes, rolling trays, Codex dice towers, and so much more. Dice catapults are amazing. You are definitely going to want to check this out. I just love everything. I have so many Elderwood products now, and they always get compliments. They're good looking. They're portable. They make your gaming life easier. There's every reason to check them out. And they're constantly coming out with new stuff, new options, customizable things. Anyway, head on over to elderwoodacademy.com/don't-split to see what they have that will fit your gaming table. That's elderwoodacademy.com/don't-split.